Hi, friends. It's your old pal, host Eric. Is that on the right microphone? No, it is. Okay. I do have it set to your mom's face after all. I was afraid I didn't. Hi, Octavia Silva. How are you today? Is being insecure the same thing as being stubbornly wrong? Well, the answer to that question is not always, but usually. Hi, Outer Self. I'm serious about wanting to do that thing with ENTI. Maybe we could do it today if you have time. You relieved that you don't have to babysit? I'm right here. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm scared of things. I don't know what you think you're doing. If anybody needs to be babysat, it's me. I'm here by myself. Rachel's asleep. I could get into anything. I'm completely irresponsible like that. Alyssa Lucas, hello. Good morning, Jesus is Lord. Well, Winston's mom, I was thinking of you as the counterexample. Not just you, but a lot of people. So, a lot of people were stubbornly wrong about COVID, including Winston's mom. But that's not because they were insecure. Okay, so that's just because there are very few people who are quite as consistently, thoroughly, and insightfully correct as I am about large issues, you know. But like I was thinking about Mackenzie's frustration with Sean, right? Like Sean's an example of somebody who was in that instance being stubbornly wrong, you know. He doesn't know anything about typing at all. Every time I've heard him say anything about it, it's all complete garbage. So it's like, why is he so stubbornly wrong? I'm not sure. It could be insecurity. But then again, it's also important to remember I woke up kind of mad, which I do sometimes for no reason. Woke up mad at the wrong people of the world. You got your SAT results back and you got 1330. Is that good? I don't think so, but I don't know, really. Are they back to 1600 as the maximum? They switched it around for a while. If they're back to 1600 as the maximum, that's pretty good. That's not bad. It's better than I ever did. I got 1270 out of 1600, I think. I got like 740 on the... Okay, they must be back to 1600 then. Yeah, that's good. I got like 740 on the verbal, and that was also concerning to me as well. It's like, okay, if you're stubbornly wrong, you can always call it trolling, right? This is the origin of this whole thing. You can say, oh, he was just trolling. For a while, it was up to 2,000 out of 2,000. I think they pushed it back to 1,600, though. I'm not sure why they did that, but yeah, if it's out of 1,600 again. Hey, don't be underestimating the intelligence of potatoes. What did you miss while you snoozed? Eric woke up angry at wrongness. Oh, that's good then. That's better than I did on it. I got 1270. I almost got a perfect score on the verbal, though. I was just shitty on the mouth part. I guess I got bored of it or something. I don't know. Maybe I didn't learn the math. I did way worse on the math. Why is it like I did like 300 points worse on the math or something? So they asked why you're angry? Yeah, well, I know I'm angry. It's pretty straightforward. It's the same reason I'm always get angry. Why is it like what makes Eric angry? Other people's wrongness. That's right. So anytime I'm mad, you can guess someone's been wrong around me. It's pretty sure guess someone's been wrong. And probably stubbornly wrong. But I trace my current anger back to hearing about Sean telling Mackenzie she was an FI user. And the reason it made me mad is because Sean should not be able to get away with anything other than, oh, good. Here we have steady proof that he's incredibly shitty at everything related to typology. Yeah, that's great. Okay. He should not be able to get away with, oh, I was just trolling. What? No. I mean, first of all, that wouldn't even be trolling. That would be just bullying somebody. It's not, you can troll me. That's fine because I have a big YouTube channel. It's not big YouTube channel, but it's like, I'm here, right? Here I am. Come get me. It's impossible for me to say, you can't troll me because I'm standing here in front of everybody, begging everybody to troll me all the time, basically. But if you're not making a YouTube channel that puts out a shit ton of content, then how can you be trolling somebody? You're just bullying them, Remind me of, I was just joking when someone was wrong. Exactly. Same concept. And so this one's more like, like the intellectual version of it. Like, it's I don't have any intellectual support for it. So instead of I'm not gonna nix my wrongness, nor am I going to admit it. I'm just going to pretend I'm trolling. I've had a number of people say they think he's an ESFP. I certainly consider that possible, but I don't know. He might be an ENFJ. The one thing that ESFPs are really good at is pretending to be other things. That was Gen Xil saying that, okay? As soon as I started talking about the subject, he disappeared from this conversation entirely. I mean, he purports to be an ENFJ, and I've generally taken it as at face value. I have never heard any TI from the guy. Horace Mumbler insists he has. Horace Mumbler seems to be a good judge of TI. Obviously, he's an INTP. But I have not ever heard any TI from the shit. And one speck of it. Okay, so if that's the case, then if he believes what he's saying and is disagreeing with me and also can't win the argument, then he's wrong. And he needs to accept that. Wrongness bothers me. Stubborn wrongness most of all. It is fine being wrong. I'm wrong plenty of times. But what I almost never do is double down on my wrongness. Once somebody points it out, I go, oh, okay, cool. I can get rid of that wrongness. Doubling down on wrongness pisses me off. He feels like an argument isn't worth his time because he doesn't have any arguments to make. He just has his feelings or his intuition or whatever. Well, that's not going to cut it, home fries. You know, that's not how you think about things. Nah, it's curtains, you hear? Curtains. I turned into that guy for a second. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I became Curtains Guy. Who is Curtains Guy? We discussed this before. Is it James Cagney? Is that who Curtains Guy is? Curtains, you hear? It's going to be curtains. Going to rearrange your furniture and put in some new curtains. I think it's James Cagney, who's the Curtains Guy. When I was a kid, we all watched cartoons from the 40s. And in the cartoons from the 40s, the old cartoons like Bug Bunny and Elmer Fudd and stuff in them, they had this guy who would be like, stool pigeon, eh? You're a rat, a stool pigeon. It's going to be curtains, you hear? Curtains. You can always do that in the cartoons. I think it was James Cagney, I believe. No, you're not blocked, Boba Fett. I see you. You just haven't said anything worth noting yet. Okay? It may actually just be that I have it on top chat instead of live chat. So let me change to live chat. Oh, yes, you did ask that question. I did see that question as well. Only some people have a hard time typing themselves. I rarely see INTPs, and I rarely see ENTPs coming to get typed. And the reason is because they're pretty confident about their own typing. I also rarely see INTJs coming to get typed because they're confident about their own typing. The other day I had not yesterday, I guess it was the day before. I think. Might have been yesterday. Might have been the day before. Anyway, I had two typings. I had an ISTJ and an ISTP. I don't get those very often either. ISTP is a little more often than ISTJs. An ISTP woman, pretty rare. You don't see a lot of ISTP chicks. And an ISTJ woman, a little more common. Now, the thing is, I typed the ISTJ as ISFJ. And I said ISFJ or ISTJ, but I settled on ISTJ. And the reason is because the reason I couldn't really spot her, that was you, Alyssa Lucas? Oh, you were the ISTP. Okay, well, I'm talking about the ISTJ right now. Okay, yeah, you were the ISTP I typed. The ISTJ I typed, I had a little bit of trouble typing her FE because she was from India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or one of those kind of areas. And she didn't, there's very, very little FE, you know. I wasn't sure if that's a cultural thing or not. So anyway, that first lady I typed was an ISTJ. It was the daughter of a dude I had typed before as INFJ. In fact, I think his video is up there, Samer. Alyssa didn't want me to record. But because anyway, Samer is this guy. I think his video's up there. I typed him as an INFJ. I typed his daughter. His daughter is the ISTJ. But Alyssa I typed later that day, and yeah, nice guy. That Samer guy, and his daughter's real nice too. But but his daughter thought she was an INTP, and well, Boba Fett knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was just like a couple days ago. Anyway, Alyssa was a little confusing for me for a while because I'm not used to typing a lot of ISTPs. But when I finally said, okay, I've got to figure out where your NE is, and I hammered the NE polar, it was clear as day. And that also is what I thought about. That's also when I thought about getting Otter Self to help me to make a video where I demonstrate like this is what an answer to any 1-2 looks like, and this is what answers to TI 1-2 look like, because people like the ISTJ in particular, she came in thinking she was an INTP. And part of the reason is because she's creative, like she likes to make things, right? But when asked to make anything on the fly, she's very hesitant. That's very fourth slot NE, which is why I thought that's you, YS. Are you Samer's daughter? Well, regardless, like I'm saying, the only time I really get to type ISTJs or ESFJs or ISFJs is when an intuitive in their family hires me to type them. That's you're a Samer. Oh, okay, cool. Hi, Samer. So the thing is, if you do self-reporting test and you're ISTJ, there's a very good chance you're going to test out as INTP because you have a certain value for creativity that you're going to self-identify with. You're an SI dom, so you have your own knowledge as a leading thing, and you've got pretty good TI. She has pretty good TI, but it's not 1 or 2. So it's like that's why I was saying. That's why I was saying it would be a good idea to have a clear example of any 1 or 2 / TI 1 or 2. The ISTP, Alyssa, her TI was 1 or 2, but you could also see the difference in front slot SI versus back slot SI. So one of the differences between ISTPs and INTPs in answering those TI questions is ISTPs need to have the questions repeated because they're not SI front stack. The other thing that was really interesting in typing Alyssa was when I asked her I pretended it was a job interview, and I asked her, like, who are you? What do you bring to this corporation or whatever? And boy, she just was. And then when I finally got shit out of her, it was all SI. It was all demonstrative SI. It was like, well, I have experience at this. I have experience at this. I have experience at this. So it really makes me happy when my projections, or not projections, but predictions, I guess, or whatever you want to say, my saying, like, if in fact they're going to do like and then it happens exactly like that, I like that a lot. It makes me happy to have my shit confirmed, and makes me unhappy to have it the opposite of confirmed, falsified. Of course, Alyssa's a nurse, but she can only help you if you break a bone in your brain. If you break your arm, she's not that kind of nurse. Well, I thought about doing that too, Octavio Silva. I thought about that, going through the typing sessions and trying to find examples of me asking the same question and getting different answers. Oh, you introvert, Evelyn. You're introvert. Here's how you answer that question. What am I going to bring to this organization? What the fuck am I not going to bring to this organization? I'm talking about fireworks, explosions, chase scenes, everything you can imagine. That's what I'm going to bring to this organization. We don't make movies, you know that, right? Doesn't matter. Big monsters, everything. Everything I'm bringing to this organization. What do you got? What am I bringing to this organization? What do you got? Thanks, Evelyn. That's how you kill an interview. Well, yeah. But see, listen, Alyssa, just imagine that your whole nature, your core being, was bullshitting and putting on a show. In that instance, you'd really love doing interviews. In that instance, you'd be named Eric. How to woo an INFJ female? Be totally worthy of her. Yeah, that's your fourth slot FE. That's my third slot FE too, going like, what? An opportunity to talk about myself? Fantastic. Bubble Puppy, the reality is that they are in items. You have to actually be worthy of them. To the extent that there's dating capital, I think the healthiest INFJ relationships are those where the INFJ is dating someone with perhaps more dating capital than they. Because but I mean, it's not just dating capital. It's also you have to treat them well, you know, and it's not easy to treat an INFJ well if you have any expectation of utility from them. You know, the reality is INFJs can be extremely useful when, I guess, used properly, but they're not inherently useful people. I just put it that way, you know. So you better be pretty useful if you want to get with an INFJ chick, you know. I gotta tell you though, it is absolutely delightful being with one. Yesterday, she and I took a walk around the block in the evening, and you know, when we got home, she said something like, "It sure is nice spending almost all my time with my favorite person," which was a great thing to say, but it was also exactly what I felt as well. You know, it's like I cannot imagine having any easier, more natural, more comfortable, relaxed, happy time spending time with somebody than I do with Rachel. But of course, part of the reason why it goes so smoothly is I'm always trying to intuit ahead of her FE. In other words, I don't want her to be making sacrifices in any sense using her FE, such as like last night I was pleased when I went to bed and she's like, well, I'll come lie down with you for a bit. And I say, okay, cool. And then instead of lying down, she just said, you know what, I'm just going to give you a kiss and go back outside. She didn't want to really hang out and lie down with me, which is great that she chose to come back out here instead. You know, that's what I want her to do every time. How do I differentiate between romantic and platonic feelings? I don't. It's not a matter of the feelings. It's a matter of the relationship status. So I differentiate between friendships and a relationship, obviously. Relationship is the one with the chick that you fuck. To be clear. Besides that, I don't really do that thing you're saying, I don't think. I mean, I know that when I want to have sexual intercourses, that's not platonic. That's what you'd call non-platonic. That's called poketonic. Oh, well, in Rachel's case, I entered into what I read about as a textbook example of a so-called state of limerence, where after I talked to Rachel a few times, I was, I guess you'd say, enamored / smitten / in a state of limerence, which is to say it's like until I've been with her for a while, I couldn't stop thinking about her, and I just like go through the day saying like Rachel Apollosa, you know. I guess that's called having a crush on somebody, or being in love or something like that. But it's like for me, the meaningful definitions of love have always emerged from things I can describe, kind of. Like, so in other words, I used to always say love is a behavior, not a feeling. Now, that's probably not correct, but it helps to explain it, certainly. I do have these feelings periodically about both Rachel and my dad and my daughter, probably most strongly about Delilah when she comes over, and I have this warm feeling in my chest that, when I think about her, I get it. It's a feeling, I guess, an emotion, I think, called love, or filial love, I believe it's called, because she's my daughter and it's a family thing. I feel that about Delilah in a way that I don't really feel about anybody else. I mean, I feel similarly like attached to other people, but there's something about Delilah that it's like the cat, kind of. The cat, I don't need anything from the cat. The cat's presence enough is plenty. It's like when the cat enters the room, I want to put on a big show of like, oh my God, you're here. We are so blessed by your presence, wonderful cat. I don't typically feel that way about people, obviously. But I kind of feel that way about my daughter, Yeah, I'm hoping to do it in 30 minutes. Can we do it in 30 minutes? I try to make my live streams at least 1 hour. When I saw you were here right away, I almost wanted to quit right away and do it, but I figured, no, do an hour. You guys do an hour. Yeah, and you know who else makes me feel like that is Lilu. Every time I see Lilu and he's moving a rock or something, I want to cry. Um, it's like when we lived in Temple City, and we got 30 minutes. Okay, cool. That's 8:40 my time. Let's call it 8:45. That's a rounder number. um, when I see Lilu, our lobster, moving a rock, it's just so emotional. But anyway, um, when Delilah, when we lived at Temple City, one time the cat this was Dixie, it wasn't Capillo, but the cat got a letter in the mail. And Delilah looked at the mail and she saw the letter and she said, Dixie got a letter in the mail. Ah! That's how I feel about certain things too. That I think about as being FI, it's just that's not my finger on fire. I'm smoking a cigarette. Yes, legends fall. I would say it's characteristic of ISFP and ISTP that they have little to say. However, I would also caution strongly, do not think that how people are in the chat is representative of how they are. I have been so shockingly fooled sometimes when I finally get around to talking to someone from the chat, and they are not at all like they are in the chat. Okay, so don't think you can type people from the chat. This is a word of warning from my own experience. It's a fool's errand. But it's like I told Alyssa yesterday. I don't even know if she's still here or not, but if she is or if she's not, I told her, the thing about ISTPs is they have the conversational momentum of a rock. you go, so, blah, 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 blah. And I go, yep. And the rock just sits there and you go, okay, well, how about blah, 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 blah. And then they go, yep. No, they don't have a lot to say, and they are at a disadvantage in interviews. And that's why I had this one ISTP kid's mother hired me to coach him in interviews, and it didn't do me a damn bit of good. I mean, I couldn't. It's like every bit of interview shit that he wanted to learn, I couldn't teach him any, right? So all I could do was set him up with a bunch of SI packets. He wanted to learn a bunch of TESI shit to do interviews. And it's just like, oh, this is so hard. But yeah, they're at a disadvantage in general in life of being underestimated. So I think ISTPs are the most intelligently underestimated. Like they're the most smarter than people think they are of all types. Probably ENTPs are the most overestimated. Unfortunately, that's probably true. ISTPs are the most underestimated type in terms of intelligence, and ENTPs are the most overestimated type. After all we do is show off how smart we are. Oh, it's funny being me sometimes. I am faintly ridiculous after all. Faintly, Eric, come on. Like that ICP kid I coached interviewing, he's the one who got a perfect score on the ACT. which like only a couple thousand kids in the country do out of millions of people who take it. There's no way in hell I could ever get a perfect score on the ACT. I can't even get a perfect score on the SAT verbal part now as I'm teaching the 6th grade girl that I'm teaching about it. The 6th grade girl and I will do the SAT together, the verbal part, and occasionally she'll do better than I do on a section. So it just goes to show you, right? Her mom also wants me to teach her extroverted intuition. But I learned my lesson before I got to her. I said, listen, Mom, your child is an ISTP and you're just going to have to fucking live with it. Okay? She is not having extroverted intuition and I cannot force it onto her. So just get over the notion. Well, emailed anthrax. I think that your comment there where you say INFJ is the most underestimated, I can tell you why, because there's not a clinical way to measure FE and how it's used. The reason INFJs are not usually underestimated is because they're FEing. So they're making sure they're not underestimated. Now, if you got an INFJ like my friend Corey, who had spent his professional life conveying competence to people, then even though he didn't have any college degree, he was rapidly made his way up to senior management in Earthlink. Back when Earthlink was a big corporation. And despite not having any high school diploma, he's also he's been making 6 figures for basically as long as I know him. You know, INFJ, but so I think that you're not counting enough about how good FE can be when empowered and when directed correctly. Now, the thing is, Rachel doesn't project as that competent, right? She projects as warm instead. And she's had to embrace that approach to FE instead due to life circumstances or whatever. She's also a chick. So it's, she's operating in a different system of archetypes, you might say. Eric, did you forget about your coffee? You did, didn't you? Have I shamed you about that yet this morning? No? Shame on you. Thanks, Eric. You're a real pal. Yeah, I know. Well, let me tell you one important thing we're going to have to do today after I converse with other self. We're going to have to go to the weed store. Yes, the weed store. That place we have to go to like every 3 days. This time, goddammit, I'm buying an ounce. Okay? I'm going to drive further away. I'm going to get an ounce. The last time we went to the place to get an ounce, Dola says, I found out a reason why some people type post Eric as an ESTP. Eric is accused of inappropriate use of NE. All you need to do, Dolls, is put that question mark after the responsibly instead of the you. How could you use any responsibly? I'm not sure any is really well associated with responsible usage. I mean, my dad uses it responsibly. I tell you, I know how you use it responsibly. To use extroverted intuition responsibly is to use it like my dad does. He's constantly anticipating what might go wrong. That's very responsible use of extroverted intuition, but it's not very fun. Right. Yeah. Well, most underestimated for sure. Whereas I get hired to do anything, no matter how shitty I am at it. I might get fired fairly shortly thereafter, but this guy, yeah. Listen to him. He's brilliant. I can't believe we hired that guy. What are we thinking? He doesn't know how to do any of this shit. Sure sounded like he knew what he was talking about. I mean, I agree that I agree with Skygear's assessment actually on the matter, which is it is true that that the polar uses the function least irresponsibly. I'm fired. Polar uses it least irresponsibly. So, but that's mostly because they use it least, period. Okay, utter self, can we do this now? Can we meet in whereby.com/Eric Strauss? Do I have to type it in? Whereby.com/Eric Strauss. No. But you want to hear about some weird NI? A little bit of weird NI magic shit. So, somebody that Rachel and I have spoken with periodically every couple months or whatever. She's been with this woman's been with this guy. Rachel had a dream 2 nights ago about this person and basically about her breaking up with her boyfriend. And then later that day, that woman called and didn't tell me that she had broken up with her boyfriend, but gave an indication of it by talking about a previous boyfriend. So I was like, wow, that's some NI magic right there, you know? Like how the hell do you know to dream about that? Like that's the kind of shit that seems magic to me about NI. Like how the fuck did she how could her dream anticipate that call later that day? That was, I mean, she didn't say someone's gonna call later today. But still. Anyway. All right, yeah, so I'll see you there, other self. Bye, everybody. Love you all. Have a good day watching basketball. Big basketball day. Don't miss those games.